All right, yo. It's your astrology open book representing true space. So, this video titled The True Nature of God, Micro, Macro Universe. Really, before I even get into the video, just a little disclaimer. You're going to have to leave behind that over analytical mind to understand the nature of God and the universe. You can't, it's not something that's logical. It's not something that's necessarily analytical like that, nor is it completely just purely intuition and all. It's a blend of both, because that's the nature of the reality we live in. That's God. If it created both, why would he just be consistent of one? So I'm going to need you to not hold on to names and titles and previous conceived ideas and shit that was never real, and all of that shit. Keep an open mind, and you're going to need to be in your spiritual nature to understand the things that I am talking about, or to be able to go to where I'm trying to take you to. I'm not pushing you through the door, or I'm bringing you to the door for you to walk through yourself, for you to be in the right frame of mind to understand the reality that we live in, and to understand you and the power within you. So let's get into it. We live in a being. We all live in a being, first and foremost. Now, God doesn't have the attributes of man. The God of conventional religions is anthropomorphized. God and spirit, they try and make it seem like he's a man, or that God is watching down and is making decisions, and he's playing a role, that if you're suffering, God is doing this, that, and all of that. It's none of that. God doesn't perceive the things that God perceives way more than the things that a man can. You can't. God is way beyond that scope. God is a parameter. God is simply all possibilities. It is infinity. That's what God is. Now, it's awareness. Now, stay with me. God was the first awareness. When spirit became aware of itself, spirit is nothing. It is just space. And then once that's what God is. That spirit, it is just space. It is the potential to hold, the potential to become. Once God became aware of itself, and if I say himself or itself or anything like that, don't get lost in these names. I told you to let that shit go. Nigga, I already told you to let that shit go. When I'm saying man and when I'm saying woman, I'm not talking about genders. I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about positive and negative. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Once God became aware of itself, it had the first thought and feeling. Adam and Eve. This is the story. This is the real meaning of that story, or what is actually meaning. And why I say they're anthropomorphizing God, because that's what they're doing. They're making you think that Adam and Eve represented actual living beings that lived. No, they represent positive energy and negative energy, yin and yang. That's the story of Adam and Eve, and what it's representing, and the eating of the fruit. All right, so God becoming aware, having this first thought and feeling. Once it became aware, it had a feeling based on the experience that it just went through of being aware. Then it started developing thoughts around that experience, and started giving it names, and started titling things and categorizing things. Therefore, Eve taking the apple and eating it, Eve, negative, receiving, feeling the emotion. It received the emotion and then passed it off to Adam. He developed thoughts around it. He gave it a name. He gave it a concept. Positive, Adam, pushing out. Man, masculine. Negative, female, receiving. This is what these things mean. Even when the ancients were talking, when they were talking him, when they were talking she, they weren't talking about gender. They were never talking about gender. This is more of an energetic, more in terms of energy, on that lighter realm of reality. So God gave birth to duality through this experience, and God governs duality because it had the first thought and the first feeling. Now, God, I already said that. Science tries to explain the first awareness as the Big Bang. But in order for something to expand, it would have to contract first. And for it to contract, for an atom to contract into itself, for it to explode and to become a universe, the atom would have to already exist. You see how they kind of get you lost? Because they put chief significance on the physical realm by telling you that's where we started. But that's not where we started. God gave birth to awareness first. He had awareness first, and then he had a feeling about it and a thought. These were the first vehicles and vessels that our spirits can inhabit, way before the physical. Way before the physical. But this is how they get you lost. But they're still mimicking the story of what I'm saying. God being expansion and contraction, pushing out and negative, Adam and Eve. But they're putting chief significance. They're like, after you get to physical, that's when shit started. But I'm showing you before that. And even English in itself is holding me back from fully expressing that, because words cannot describe on that level. That's why you have to take it in energetically, or I'm showing you the portal for you to jump through, for you to understand and perceive God yourself. I'm just giving you the right scope, or attacking the demons and concepts that they have put in your mind already to mislead you and deceive you. They didn't lie. There's no lies being told, but it's more of a deception, misleading. It's giving you information, but it's not telling you the whole story. So we know that majority of the universe is composed of what they call dark matter or dark energy, something that we cannot see, but we can see the effects of. So how is the universe created by a single atom when majority of the universe is not composed of atoms? Think about that. Really think about that. When God became aware and started expanding and contracting, and had the first thought and feeling, such as he became aware and had the first thoughts and feelings. So first thoughts were like love and wisdom and intellect and structure, even jealousy and hate. He became aware and felt love because he appreciated the experience that he had, and then he felt that emotion, and then he labeled it, and then he gave a name to it and analyzed it for him to go back and jump into that as a vessel, because now it's love. That feeling and emotion that awareness brought to him is love, and now there's a title, and now he can jump into that as a vessel to inhabit. And because through going through this experience, you develop wisdom because you went through an experience. You knew more than what you did before. You did something, so you developed wisdom based behind that. Now you understand what this means, or you have more understanding of what it means, because God really liked love. He gave it most of his attention. He really liked love, or that energy. God was like, yeah, I fuck with you. I fuck with love. This is nice. I like being here. This is my kind of vibe. He jumped into those other feelings that he had wisdom, but he loved or liked to be in love the most. But with God's attention to his creations, they became aware of themselves too. Virtues like hate and jealousy can't stand on their own, which is why they're weak as fuck. They have to feed off of love. Now, once he jumped into these things, they developed awarenesses of their own, kind of like became spirits themselves, pieces of God. But God gave so much light to love. Love started to think that it was God, because God kept on going in there. It's like, I like this. And then wisdom liked love, because wisdom seen that it could sustain itself in love, because love would bring more experiences for you to develop more wisdom. Structure liked love, because it can jump into that and sustain itself within that vessel too. So love is here like fuck, these niggas keep on coming to me. I must be like God. I must be God. Y'all don't even need to go to God. I'm the representation of God. And boom, that's the birth of Lucifer. But the main point is that God is awareness itself. It's all possibilities, not a person. All possibilities, all law. This is what they're talking about. By expanding its awareness, it created virtues like wisdom, love, and what I was just talking about, that took lives of their own and gave birth to the rest of the universe, in the same manner that they were given awareness from God. This is how the esoteric realm was created. Then eventually collected so much light and vibrated and existed for so long that it fell into density and to being created into the material world that we live in today. Basically, everything in the world, everything in the physical realm was first in the esoteric realm. So thoughts and emotions were the first vessel a spirit could inhabit. Then it fell into density and then started taking bodies and like humans and plants and water and all of that shit that existed on the esoteric realm first. Look at the language that we use. Before air was physical in this realm of reality, it existed up there. That's why you say somebody's airheaded. They're not air. Their head is not airheaded. You're regarding to air's quality, not on the physical realm, but on the esoteric realm. Same thing when you say someone's earth strong or they're sturdy. The reason that somebody could take on that characteristic just like earth or the ground can, because that quality of earth existed on the esoteric realm first and then fell into density and took the form of earth or whatever else. This is how the nature of reality or how things work. So this concept is important to know if you want to understand the micro, macro universe that we live in. God is a parameter, an infinite parameter. He is no thing. And that is what the spirit is. Spirit is space, the potential to hold and the potential to be, the potential to become. It's just space. It's space. It's zero. It's nothing. No thing. It hasn't become a thing yet. Picture yin and yang as expansion and contraction. Expansion being yang and contraction being yin. The creator's tool that he uses, the tools of God, of spirit. Yin representing the esoteric realm and yang representing the physical. But don't get too lost in that, because everything has a yin and yang, even yin and yang. And that's how you can kind of understand the concept of race. But I'm not going to get into that in this video. But God was the first to become aware, and every spirit, which would be a piece of God, which is infinite. So a piece of the infinite, a piece of the space that is forever expanding. So every spirit that became aware after, like these virtues that it gave its attention to, and then it spread off like roots, like a tree. After that, has to expand their awareness to be omnipotent, like God is. But God had a head start since he was aware first. Just like how your parents are more aware of the world than you, simply because they were born first and experienced things before you did. So you have to walk in their footprints. Now we are all God collectively, but each spirit became aware at different times. The spirit that became aware before you already expanded, so when you become aware, you're stepping in, just like what I explained with the parents. So if spirit is space, look at it as esoteric property. For example, people were born in this world before me and created the country Canada. Now, I can after take over Canada and add to the concept of what it is, or change the name and make it something else, become the prime minister, or simply become an influential person in the country and redefine what the country is. But it won't change the fact that it was Canada before I came in, and then that's what I have to deal with, or that's what I have to work with, because a spirit was aware before I was, or came into this realm of reality before I was. I'm explaining how the esoteric realm was built. The point is that even just looking at the birth of a baby, that's the perfect example. That's as close. That was the closest we were to God, and we've been trying to get back to that awareness ever since. But when you were born into this realm of reality, boom, you became aware, and then you looked around. None of these things had names. You didn't really have feelings and emotion. What's sadness when you were born? What's pain? You didn't know these concepts, but you became aware, and then these feelings and thoughts came after. That's basically God. Basically. So, all because the spirit was aware before my spirit that they had attained all of this property, and expanded and became aware of areas and gave energy into areas, and already labeled them, already had feelings and emotions and thoughts, and developed concepts and labeled things before I came into this realm of reality. So being born into this realm of reality, like you and I was, is simply a reflection of what God already did in the esoteric realm. As above, so below. Now we can get into the concept of micro and macro universe, because we understand the scope of God. God is all possibilities. God is not a man or a person or anything like that. It doesn't even understand or look at things like that. But all of us live inside. Now that we understand the scope of God, and that it's a parameter, and that it's space, and that we live within this space, or that we have chunks of this, and all of these thoughts and feelings populate the esoteric realm, and are the vessels that spirits inhabit on that level. So now we can get into the concept of the micro macro universe. All of us live inside of a being, Earth. Take it down to the level of us, or what we're perceiving here, for a second. We live on Earth. Earth has its own consciousness. It's all of the life forms on Earth's consciousness in one. we make up the blood vessels and the bone structure and the body of Earth. All living things, the humans, the plants and vegetations, the animals, all of us are the blood vessels and veins and organs of Earth. Earth is 75% water, so are we. Earth is slightly tilted to the left, and so is your heart. And we even collectively is what made Earth tilt to the left by being so left brain, by being so analytical and not as intuitive. But that's a different video. I'm not going to get into that right now. But you mimic the being that you live in and the environment Earth is in. Just like how your body is. You don't think and breathe or pump blood through your veins. Your cells have their own consciousness. They have their own lives just like you do. They're all having girlfriends. They're all going out for dinner and shit like that. But you just can't perceive it on that level because of your level of awareness. Because they got us stuck in perceiving things as man, or as you experience it, not realizing that everything is having the same experience. It's all the same thing. You can look at two animals and understand that they're in a relationship, but that's not what they call it, but it's the same thing, because we're dealing with things on the esoteric realm before they came in here to the physical. So they have their own lives too. The cells and organs and blood vessels that are inside you, they just haven't expanded as a spirit through awareness just as much as you have. So a cell is the highest vessel their spirit can jump into and inhabit, so they have to live through you. Just like how you have to live through Earth, whether you like Earth or its qualities or not, but you know what I mean. Now, zoom in on an atom, the building blocks of the realm of the world, so they say. Don't they look like solar systems? Don't they? They do. This is the micro-macro universe that we live in. We are all reflections of God, no matter how much you zoom in or how much you zoom out. It doesn't matter. It's still masculine, feminine. It's still duality. It's still push and receive. This is why you are a God. You are your own universe, because you govern all of these consciousness and beings within you, just like how Earth governs all of the consciousness and beings that live within it. You are a reflection of Earth. You are doing the same thing that Earth is doing, and Earth is doing the same thing that you are doing. Now, you are a God. You may not be the God because you didn't have the first awareness. You didn't develop these things, and you didn't first. Or God had the greatest head start of all time. So you cannot be the overall, but you can be one with the overall, most definitely. What do you think your cells think of you? They think that you are a God. You're the highest conscious being that they can perceive at their level. When they look up at you, they probably only see lights. They don't see a body and shit like that. They're part of your body. They don't see it like that. They view you and worship you like you're a God. And they feel cursed by you if you're eating healthy, or if you get hurt and not taking care of your body properly. They feel cursed. They're like, why is God doing this to us? We don't understand. Or if you're eating healthy and you're working out, or you're being in good vibrations, they're like, fuck, we fuck with God. God in his bountifulness, merciful God. This is how your cells are viewing you, just like how you view these higher beings. But this is how we look at the skies. When we look up and see the stars, we see a bunch of lights. But the stars are doing the same thing that we are doing, but just on a expanded level of awareness. They're doing it on a higher level of reality. Our spirits haven't expanded enough to fully be aware of, just like our cells do with us. So Earth lives in a being too, because it's the micro macro universe. It zooms in and zooms out indefinitely. It zooms out until you get to God, which is all possibilities, which is always contracting, expanding and contracting. So Earth lives in a being too, the solar system. All of these beings have consciousness and feelings and thoughts. They're doing the same things that you are doing. It's not different. All of the planets are the chakras of that being. They make up the body and the vessel of that being, the solar system, which is why you have chakras, because you're mimicking the being that you live in and the surroundings that it has. That's why you have 7 chakras, because of the 7 planets. You really have 9 chakras, just like how there's the 9 planets. I'm including the sun in that. But the outer planets like Uranus and Neptune and Pluto are so far that their influence is spread thin. Just like within the body, those chakras are kind of, spread thin or hard to perceive or aren't as prominent as those 7 chakras. But you're mimicking the planets. And people get lost between Western and Eastern talking about chakras and shit, not realizing that they're talking about the same things, just different names. And you get lost like this when you don't understand the esoteric realm and the energy of things before they fell down into density and we started labeling them and putting them in boxes and all of that. So, yeah, the planets are the chakras and make up the body that the solar system is. The reason that, so this is where the concept of Jesus comes in, because Jesus is the Son anthropomorphized, which is why he is called the Son of God. Always has a sun behind him in the paintings. He has the fucking 12 disciples, represented the 12 zodiacs that the sun travels through. Jesus being betrayed and crucified is an allegory for winter. For the winter solstice, when the sun disappears and when it's majority dark, because the sun is Jesus, or the Jesus is the anthropomorphized version of the sun. So if we expand even further than that, we will see that what we've been calling God all this time, or what the elites that run all the world of religions have made us believe of God. Not the overall, even though this is way expanded beyond our current awareness and our current experience, it's not the overall. And we're all spirits and inhabiting these as vessels. So we're all pieces of God. Earth is a spirit that jumps. Fucking camera ran out of space. But yeah, we're all experiencing so yeah, that spirit jumped to earth as a vessel. But it's still a spirit. It's still the space and the potential to be and a piece of God, which so are you. So all Earth, all of these other planets ain't shit if you ain't shit. And then the shit if you're the shit. Because your true nature is the same as them, which is infinite. You have the potential to be everything just as they do. It's all expansion. So, yeah, if we expand even further, we'll see the being that we lived in beyond the solar system, which would be the Draco constellation, which would be the water dragon snake being that we all live in, which is where the symbolism of reptiles and snakes and all of that shit comes from. The sun is the solar plexus of this water dragon snake being it's in its solar plexus chakra, and the zodiac signs are the body and flesh that make up this being, this water dragon snake being, this constellation, because it's an zoomed out scope. The zodiac constellations are so close to us that all outer influences have to be filtered through that. Same thing, we have to filter through the zodiacs to get through those outer influences, those outer constellations and shit like that. So those all those 12 zodiac signs kind of encompass or are encompassed by the Draco constellation, which is that water dragon snake being that we live in. That fuck nigga. But just like how, yeah. So that's what the elite are calling the overall, because they're trying to be born into that realm of reality that being exists in. But hold on, I'll get there. We mimic this being, and this being is lost in desires. It's trying to fuck everything. It's trying to eat everything. It's gluttonous. It's all of that shit. All of the trials and tribulations, the lower animalistic natures. It's lost in its lower animalistic natures. That's why the majority of the zodiac signs are animals, because the being that we lived in is lost in its lower animalistic type natures. So this being that we're following, the being that they're making us call God, is a lost being in itself. It's on its own spiritual journey to expand and become omnipotent like God, but it's getting lost in the lights on that level of awareness, just like how we can get lost in money, sex, and all of that, and not fully expand our consciousness to the full potential that it is. It's fucked up. It's a fucked up being. Now, on that level of expansion, that water dragon snake being and that Draco constellation, there's other constellations that it mingles with on that level, as peers kind of, but that water dragon snake being ain't shit. All of those other beings treat it like it ain't shit. They be beating it up, they be stabbing it, they be fucking it and raping it and impregnating it and doing all types of shit. They don't give no fucks about this water dragon's being, this Draco constellation. Which is probably why it's so salty. But remember, I'm talking energetic. I'm limited by words. I'm limited by language to truly explain how things are on those realms of reality because of our level of awareness. But it's the same thing. It's just an expanded version, a broadened reflection of what we're going through right now. So all those constellations and shit like that, they're having relationships. They're doing all of that. Well, we call it different things. It's expansion and contraction. Things are being attracted to each other. When things be making sex, their energies join with another being's energies and create something new. That's sex, and that exists on so many levels of reality, just beyond whipping your dick out and putting it in pussy. But we can't perceive that on the level of reality that we are at now, unless we expand our minds. Now, on that realm of reality, that's where real men exist. Real masculine energy, where they don't really be fucking with emotions like that, where they be making purely logical decisions. That's what real man is. And those beings heavily influence the water dragon snake being that we're in because they be running shit. Because you think religion is a big thing here? Wait till you get to the esoteric realm. On these higher realms of reality, it's way bigger, because that's where all of these concepts came from. Religion, everything. Religion, sex, food, whatever you can fucking think of existed on that realm of reality first. And it's way more expansive on those realms of reality. So as we expand in awareness, and if I'm a third dimensional being in training to become a fourth dimensional being, fifth dimensional being. Fourth dimension would be like a over soul, kind of like the atmosphere of Earth, the air, the ideas and concepts that remain. Think about when you die or when a person dies. At first, it's their ideas and concepts, and then it's their feelings and emotions would be the 5D. But you know what? I'm gonna make a video on dimensions later. But I just wanted you to get the scope of this micro macro universe. It expands far beyond that too, all the way until you get God, which is all possibilities. But this is how that realm of reality that we live in works, and the nature of God. We are all reflections of God, expanding our awareness until we get to that omnipotent, that ninth dimension where God resides, where we can be one with it, where we can join it. If I was a Olympic, I set a record or some shit like that, and other people came. I set an impossible record, but somebody else came and did it, even though like it was hard to do. He's not the first person to do it, but he's now one with me. Now we can be kind of on parlay, and this is how you connect with God. This is why you can't hold on to these previous concepts and these feelings and emotions, because those existed already by other spirits that or have been tainted or been used and experienced by spirits before you. This is why it's important to develop your own mind, because us as spirits are trying to expand and get our own esoteric property, get our own land that is not owned by somebody else. That's how you expand and get these higher vessels. Open motherfucking book.